Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of TFLnow Live. We come back from 2018 LA Auto Show. Yesterday and today we talk about all the car and truck we see at the show.
Добро пожаловать, друзья! Я очень рад, что вы с нами сегодня.
Da, Andre is correct. Okay, we're gonna drop the accents.
No more.
No more accents.
Sorry, it's been a long week.
Well, we just wanted to have some fun today. But we did actually just go to the 2018 LA Auto Show. Hopefully you guys saw all the different videos we did.
Yes.
I think we put out well over 10 videos
20
in one
maybe.
day.
Maybe 20.
Put out a lot of videos. And today we want to digest, talk about the show a little bit, and really talk about what the big show stealers were, what the most popular, most important cars from this auto show were, because we've had a chance to see them, see how they were received by the audience, and talk about them a little bit. Obviously, now the show is open to the general public. So if starting today, if
Yes.
you live in Los Angeles or in California or you want to fly there, go check out the show. There's a lot of good stuff to see.
It's a good one this year, and
It is a
that's
good
why
one.
we're doing the show. The top 10 showstoppers, really.
Yeah.
And these are the vehicles may not be, the best selling or the most popular, but the way I judged it is if there was a crowd of journalists around this vehicle,
Yeah.
then there's something special, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
There's
you can
something
see,
special.
you can physically see which ones are gaining the most attention because not necessarily on the day of the debuts because people are running around the whole time, but the day after when all the debuts are done and people have the opportunity to just go check out the cars and see what they're like on their own, when there's a crowd around those vehicles, that's when you know it's a really important car. So,
And thank you for joining us. We have a lot of people here in the super chat or
Yeah.
in the chat room.
and
Right.
people liked our intro. That's
Oh,
good.
thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank
We're,
you.
we're trying to brighten up today.
Yeah.
I have my warm hat because it's been snowing and kind of been icy day.
And I don't need a snowy hat because I'm from Russia and I'm always warm, regardless of what the weather is.
Boy.
So, of course, go check out the show, check out all our videos, but let's get into our biggest showstoppers from the LA show. Before we do that, Andre, if you want to support us and donate to the Super Chat, you can, of course, do that. We really appreciate it, and we have some givebacks to you guys. So if you give us $5, we'll put your name on the hood. Welcome to the hood. $10, you get this TFL truck bumper sticker. $25, you get TFL car or TFL truck patch. You can put them on your flannels. And $50, of course, you get a TFL trucker hat signed by us or not. It's up to you guys. And if you do get something from us, please send an email to info@tflcar.com with your address so we know where to send your stuff. We really appreciate the support and welcome to the hood.
And by the way, these hats are not for sale.
No, these ones stay here with us.
Sorry, this is
To
this
keep
is
us
actual
warm.
real hat.
Yeah, that's made of black
So-
mink. It's
So
very rare.
let's kick it off with Rivian, and I think some of the viewers may be sick of us saying Rivian
Yeah.
truck, but really they just exploded on the scene. They were unheard of 2 weeks ago,
Dude.
and then they just
Huge.
said, "Okay, here's our truck,"
Yeah.
and that came out before the show, and then they said, "Well, here's our SUV."
Yep.
So
They
just unveiled
debuted
everything.
two huge vehicles with some. If they're gonna, I think a lot of people are wondering, are the specs that they're talking about actually gonna be real? But here are the specs because they're insane, right? So they're all electric. First of all, 750 horsepower, over 10,000 pound-feet of torque, which is kind of a misleading thing. Because
Maybe with gearing.
it might be with gearing.
It says grounded torque.
Grounded torque. There's a lot of math involved. You can check out Jason Fensky, Engineering Explained. He's actually done a video on something like this. That's a really good explanation. 0 to 60 around 3 seconds, which
Yes.
is really fast, and over 410 miles of range with the biggest battery option.
And can tow, the truck can tow over 11,000 pounds. The SUV is rated to tow, according to them, this is all according to them, 7,000 pounds. But I think a lot of people are also wondering, will this come to fruition? Is this going to be a production thing? They say 2020, but it's really hard to launch a car company.
Gosh, it's so difficult. Not only... Oh. Bing! David Eads?
Yeah,
199, welcome to the hood. Do you know any new vehicles debuting at Detroit?
Yes, we do,
the Supra-
and that's at the end of the show.
Oh.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. At the end of the show,
end of the
just
show.
in about 20 minutes, we'll talk about Detroit. But first, let's wrap up LA.
First, let's thank Vince Clark for $13.99 Canadian.
Wow.
Great job on the auto show, guys. Thank you, Vince.
Oh, thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. We worked really hard. We really wanted you guys to have the first information
Yeah.
immediately.
Also, Miranda asked if I'm Russian. No, I'm not Russian at all. I make it convincing. Andre is really Russian.
Yeah, I was born in Moscow. He wasn't.
I was not.
So Rivian really was a showstopper. You were there like at the end of day 2, press day, and it was still swarmed with people.
There was still 100 people surrounding this truck and the SUV. They both commanded a lot of attention. I think for a few reasons. Obviously, the specs are like crazy, right? I mean, those are some really impressive numbers. If they turn out to be true, we haven't driven one yet. We don't really know. But I think the design has a big part to play in that too, right? I mean, they both look super futuristic. That big light bar across the front, the two little, I like to call them the beans. These two little light pods.
Beanies.
The truck has that really cool storage compartment between the cab and the bed that they say can fit a full-size surfboard. I think it's a short surfboard, but technically a full-size surfboard. And the interior was also spectacular.
Yes, there's a question here from Michael. Like, when is the Moab video coming?
Ooh,
we did go to Moab to test 3 really cool trucks. The Ford Raptor, the new one, the Ram Rebel, and the Chevy Trail Boss. That video is coming probably a week from tomorrow, so we're targeting next week. So you have to stay tuned for that on TFL Truck.
Really good video, though.
Let's move on to number 9.
Number 9 is the Porsche 911.
Right, number 9.
So Porsche updated the 911 for 2020. It's the 992 generation. The previous was the 991. Then they had the 991.2. And now they have the 992 generation. It doesn't look all that different. There's a few styling updates. The biggest one on the front end is the hood. Has these 2 creases going through it that I think looks a lot like Porsches from the 70s and 80s. If you go look at some old Porsches, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh, wait. Finally, I can donate from good old Austria 10 euros.
Nice.
We're getting almost there. We need rubles. Can someone donate in rubles, please?
Yes, please. We appreciate your support.
Thank you.
So here's the thing. You talked about styling a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm not a Porsche expert.
I'm a Porsche guy.
It looks almost identical to the previous generation car from the front.
The
rear is different.
Yeah.
It's got a light bar going all the way across, which I think is pretty sexy.
I think it looks great, actually, especially in person. It looks really, really good. A lot of people, though, I think have been commenting that they don't like the light bar. So tell us in the comments what you think of the new 911, both from the front and from the back. But of course, styling isn't the only thing that they've changed, right? So they released the Carrera S and the Carrera 4S. So the sport version and the all-wheel drive sport version. And they both have more power. It's the same engine. It's the flat 6 turbocharged. But now it makes 23 more horsepower. So 443 horsepower going to the rear wheels in the S, or all 4 wheels in the 4S. 0 to 60 time on the S is 3.5 seconds. If you get the Sport Chrono package, it goes down, you get launch control with that package, and it goes down to 3.3 seconds. And then if you get all-wheel drive, it's 3.2 seconds.
Can I ask something?
Yes, go ahead.
That's kind of crazy performance.
That's really fast.
And this is for an S and the 4S. These are base cars.
These are like the pretty run-of-the-mill 911.
Run-of-the-mill cars that are going in low 3s, 0 to 60.
Unreal.
Just
with 443 horsepower.
If my hat wasn't here, my brain would have exploded.
Wow.
But the thing is, there's so much technology baked into these cars.
So much.
Both mechanically and just electronically and everything. I mean, these are such great cars. But please make it look... Oh.
There's the back.
That's the back. But please make it look different from the front.
A little bit. You can change it a little more than that. One really cool piece of tech, actually, while we're on tech, there's these sensors now in the wheel wells that detect when the road surface is wet or slippery. And it changes the tuning of the throttle. So the throttle response is changed, and the differential computing technology, whatever, something with the diff is changed as well. So the power delivery gets changed significantly when the car knows that the surface is wet. Some really high-tech stuff. Transmissions, we know it'll be launching with an 8-speed PDK, which is Porsche's dual-clutch transmission, but a 7-speed manual is on the way. It's just not going to launch with that transmission.
People were worried about that.
People were worried about it. Porsche has said for a long time that they're going to keep making manuals basically as long as they feel like it, which they're an enthusiast company, I think, for a lot of people. So I wouldn't worry about Porsche losing the manual transmission anytime soon. Pricing is the other thing we know. And the Carrera S...
It went up.
Went up about $8,000, actually. So the Carrera S starts at $113,000, and the Carrera 4S starts at $120,000. But that's the PDK price. And currently the PDK is a $3,000 option, so Maybe the price jump is only about $5,000. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, so this base car is actually over 100K.
Yeah.
But the performance is still nuts.
Well, technically, it's not the Carrera, right? It's the Carrera S, which is
Okay.
more. There might be a lower trim.
There
coming
might be,
eventually.
right, okay.
We'll see.
Okay,
We'll see.
But still 6 figures.
It's really expensive.
6 figures.
Neither of us are going to buy one anytime soon.
But somebody asked, what cars do we own right now?
Do we own right now?
Yeah, what car do you own?
I own a 2015 Volkswagen GTI with a 6-speed manual transmission.
I own 2 cars right now. One, well, truck and car. I have a Hummer H2 that I bought it from TFL, 2003, and I also have 2002 VW Golf TDI 4-door.
We're golf bros.
My old diesel.
And yours is white, and mine is white.
Yeah.
So we have matching golf side front.
Yeah,
it's really,
and
it's really
I'm
cute.
looking for a pickup truck next year.
Yeah. I also have my 84 Volvo 240 Turbo back home in Seattle.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on to Z4. This was a showstopper for me.
Yeah.
It stopped me in the show.
Yep.
I was walking by
There's a new Z4.
BMW booth, and I saw the Z4 out front there, and I just put on my brakes.
Yep.
And it's a really good looking car in person.
I want to challenge you a little bit on this one. Because I agree the BMW Z4, the new one, is a big deal, right? It's a new Z4, and it's being, or it was, jointly developed with the Supra. So definitely an important car, but I think what happened to this one, there were definitely a lot of people at the BMW booth, but they had so many new cars there to check out that it was almost like hard to pick one. They had the new X7, they had the new 3 Series, they had the new Z4, and they had another car we're going to talk about in a minute. And I think that they had so many vehicles there that it was almost hard to pick one BMW.
But it stopped me.
But it stopped you. But it stopped you.
I'm being a little selfish.
I was also running around with like a chicken with his head cut off.
Yeah, we all were running around, but the 2-liter turbo is available.
Yep.
3-liter inline 6 is available. M40i model is the 6. And I mean, these cars are also getting up there in performance, right? These are, I mean, used to be, okay performance, right?
Yeah.
Really good, but the way technology develops, we get more power, less weight. These performance figures are insane.
It's going to be, I'm sure, a really awesome car to drive. I can't wait to get my hands on one. But Javier Martinez, 199, has Ford Ranger already been doomed by Gladiator? That's a really good question.
It's a really good question. Let's answer it right now.
Should we talk about it right now?
Yeah, just real quick.
Yeah.
I say no. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Gladiator goes on sale in January. And the Ranger goes on sale in January. Okay, Gladiator in May.
So the Ranger's going to be out for a long time.
So the Ranger will have about 4 to 5 to 6 months of lead time before the Gladiator really hits the dealerships.
Yeah.
So I think that allows Ford to actually kind of expand its Ranger footprint.
That's a good point, Andre.
And I think they're kind of approaching different customers, right?
Yeah, the Gladiator, I mean, it's very much an off-road vehicle, right? Not necessarily a work truck in any sense, right? It doesn't have a very long bed. It doesn't have a very deep bed.
Right.
It's definitely more of an off-road truck that happens to have a bed and can tow a good amount. But I think the Ranger is definitely still more of a truck than the Gladiator.
And the Ranger is going to be available in several configurations. So extended cab, longer bed, crew cab, shorter bed, 2-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, and several different packages and trim levels. Yeah. So I think the Ranger is looking a little bit more of maybe more fleet customers, a little bit cheaper entry.
Yeah.
And the Gladiator, we don't know the price yet, but
I think the Ranger will for sure outsell the Gladiator. I have, just based on, I think a lot of Wrangler customers are going to stick with the Wrangler, and it's only the people that really want the Gladiator that are going to buy one.
Joey's cleaning lady said that my finger stole the show at Los Angeles.
Your finger?
Do you know why that is?
I don't know why that is.
So I was streaming live from the Gladiator reveal, and I was holding the phone like this. And you know how the wide lens, right? Yeah. My finger was in the lens.
Well.
So thank you, Joey's cleaning lady.
Great eye.
I'm really upset about this.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, should we move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so after the BMW Z4, the next vehicle we want to talk about is the BMW 8 Series convertible. So another convertible slash coupe from BMW. BMW brought back the 8 Series name after a 20-year-long break, so a really long break for the 8 Series. There is a coupe version as well, but we were more interested in the convertible, and a lot of people at the show were more interested in the convertible. The M850i will launch in March of 2019 with a price tag of, drumroll, $122,395. Woo! Ouch. More expensive than that 911 we were just talking about.
But look at the power figures, all right?
Yeah.
So the 4.4 V8 has been around, but it's been tweaked, massaged,
Yes.
and
Yes.
all kinds of stuff were done to it. 523 horsepower, 553 pound-feet of torque. We have
That's a lot of
we have
power.
some donations.
Jeff and Steph, how's the new Gladiator able to tow more than the JL with the V6? Dana 44 axles.
Yes, we can answer that right now really quickly as well. So the way the Jeep explained it, different chassis. The frame has been obviously stretched, but also a different frame. So a slightly stronger frame. Axles are new,
Yep.
third generation Dana 44s,
generation Dana
which are
44.
actually thicker and a little bit wider.
Yep.
Suspension's been retuned.
Yep.
But also the tires, everything.
they're Falcon
the Falcon Wild Peaks.
not,
So the
not
entire
Kia-
package
KO2s?
allows it to double its towing capacity basically over the JL.
Yeah.
But also the longer wheelbase makes it more stable.
Yeah.
So all those things combine for this rating,
To
and
more than double the tow rating.
and this is according to Jeep,
Right.
right? So we'll be testing it. We haven't tested it yet, so
Not yet.
we'll see how it goes.
Jordan Beamish gave us $2 Canadian. Do you think the Jeep pickup will beat the ZR2? In what sense? Off-road? Who knows? I think the ZR2 might have some better breakover angle.
Yeah,
It might-
absolutely.
the angles on the ZR2 might be a little bit better, but the Jeep might be higher off the ground.
And the Jeep, the advantage the Jeep has, it has solid axles front and rear,
Mhm.
so a little bit better articulation
Yeah.
overall, disconnectable front sway bar,
Yep.
gives it more contact with the ground. The breakover angle,
It's
you have-
really long, that Jeep. It's 30 inches longer than the JLU, than the four-door Wrangler.
yeah. So we'll have to wait and see.
We will.
So let's move on. Well, 8 Series, of course, really sexy.
Beautiful,
but
powerful.
Once again,
It was a showstopper. for
yeah.
sure.
Let's go. Let's keep going.
Now the Hyundai Palisade is next. So
This is a surprise.
this one was actually I was really impressed with the Palisade. I was at the conference when it rolled out. It's their new 3-row flagship SUV, and think of it like a replacement to the Santa Fe XL. Palisade is a lot bigger in pretty much every dimension. It's powered by a 3.8-liter V6, 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque, sending power to all four wheels through an 8-speed automatic transmission, though it is a front-biased platform. That's a key distinction.
Front-wheel drive biased. Yes.
It's big, dude. This is a big SUV.
So I wasn't at the reveal, but I saw it right after.
Yeah.
I walked up there in the crowd
Yep.
of people, and
Yep.
and the size, the block size, it looks
It's
really
huge.
blocky,
It is huge.
big. It almost reminded me almost like a Tahoe.
Yep.
When I first walked up
Yeah,
to it, because
totally.
it's got those slab sides, and I think that's good because you want something macho sometimes.
Yeah,
You don't want
heck
like
yeah.
a jelly bean, running around the whole time. So
Yeah.
I was really impressed with the styling.
So Hyundai pointed out, first and foremost, the Ford Explorer as the main competition for this vehicle. Explorer is the sales leader in its segment, so
Yes.
that makes sense, right?
Toyota Highlander.
Highlander,
Is the next one.
the Kia Telluride, which will probably be closely
related to this, right?
Some interesting things we were also told by Hyundai, sorry. It's not necessarily going to be that focused on towing, right? So they really focus this on being a family vehicle. You can take 8 or 7 people. It has a third row with 3 seats, and then you can get a bench or 2 captain's chairs in the second row. So not necessarily that focused on towing, not necessarily that focused on off-road. Really, it's meant to carry large families, maybe take them on a light trail.
In
or
comfort,
whatever.
everywhere.
In comfort and style and luxury. It's a really
Yeah.
nice interior, a lot of luxury.
I'm really curious
finishes.
about what price they're going to put on it. It's going to
Yeah.
be competitive.
It's going to be competitive.
Obviously, it's a very competitive segment, and it's not a body and frame SUV. When
No.
I said Tahoe, I was talking about style.
Just style-wise,
really,
yeah.
It's not meant to tow, like you said, a heck of a lot.
Right.
It's not meant to go crazy off road.
Yeah, they had the press conference was kind of funny. They had a Korean
Whistling.
They had a Korean K-pop group
Yes.
do this whole video with it, where they're like, "Oh, this is what family means to us," and it was
There were 7 of
a
them.
lot
right?
of marketing stuff, 7 of them.
Yes.
And then they had this like mom and dad kind of vlog channel from YouTube. They
Right.
had like 2.5 million subscribers, and the mom came out. She's pregnant with their 3rd kid. Talked about it, like, "Oh, I love all the features." It was kind of
It was a
it was a
unique,
lot of
it was a
marketing
unique
fluff,
presentation.
but very family focused SUV. Another SUV that might be focused on the family, and another vehicle actually I think made an even bigger splash based on how many views that video got. The Lincoln Aviator is the next one we want to talk about. So Lincoln brought back the Aviator to fill the gap between the Navigator and the Nautilus.
Yes.
So the standard engine is a twin-turbo 3-liter EcoBoost V6. It makes 400 horsepower 400 pound-feet of torque. And there's also one called the Grand Touring, which is a plug-in hybrid that makes 450 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque.
Yes, drum roll. And I was at the unveiling, actually pre-unveiling of the thing, because we got to see it before the show, the night before, and we were able to do the video with it, which was really great. I think this is a very important vehicle, and it was a popular vehicle on our channel, but I think it's important for several reasons. First of all, style is great.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's a rear-wheel drive platform, which is I'm welcoming.
You came up with a really good idea.
Yes.
Because it's what is your theory? What's your hypothesis?
My theory, this SUV is using a 10-speed automatic transmission, and the hybrid, plug-in hybrid version has an electric motor sandwiched between the transmission and the engine. And it's a modular unit, so that transmission motor combination for the electric motor can be mounted to other Ford engines potentially.
Oh.
And what other vehicles use a 10-speed? F-150,
F-150,
Expedition, Navigator, Ranger. Are you guys picking up what I'm saying? This is my theory.
The theory is that hybrid powertrain, right?
Yes.
Could make its way into those other vehicles.
Yeah, and it's really exciting. Ford already said that 2020 Ford F-150 will have a hybrid plug-in version.
So it might have 600 pound-feet of torque.
This might be a preview of what we're seeing. It may not be the 3-liter EcoBoost. It may be a 3.5 or 2.7,
who knows?
some other combination. But this is, I think, what we're seeing. We don't know exactly the electric range.
Not yet.
We don't have the fuel economy numbers or pricing. But I think Lincoln is doing something really great with style, with overall power.
Yeah.
And of course the interior is basically a Navigator interior.
Right, which is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
7 seats, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if they can nail down the quality,
yeah.
so that Navigator has a tiny sometimes trim that may be off center. If they can nail the quality, I think this could be great.
It looks really good. It's going to have adaptive suspension, give it a really nice ride, supposedly. I'm excited to have one of these and see what it's like to drive, especially with that hybrid powertrain. Okay, next up is not a car or a truck, but it's a side-by-side because, of course, the Honda Talon 1000R and 1000X came out at the LA Auto Show. So this has a 999 cubic centimeter engine, 104 horsepower, which a lot of people think that's a low horsepower number, but it has a dual clutch transmission, which is more efficient at delivering power than a CVT. So I think compared to its competition, it might feel competitive in the power department. 20.1 inches of travel in the rear, 17.1 inches of travel in the front. If you get the R, which is the one made for the big bumps and jumps.
It's the wider one. So yeah, they really focused on two different types of customer, right?
Yeah, so the difference between the two side-by-sides is basically all suspension and some stickers. So the X is a little bit less travel, a little bit narrower, but it's meant for kind of winding through trees, handling, stuff like that. The R is the one that has all the travel, made for big jumps, whoops, going over obstacles at a high speed. It's going to compete with the Polaris Razor XP1000 and the Yamaha YXZ and the Textron Wildcat. So kind of in that segment. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it's a showstopper because it's the only side-by-side unveiled in Los Angeles.
And because it's the first time that Honda has come out with a sport side-by-side.
Yeah, I mean, they've had the Pioneer for several years.
Right, which is
was
more
their
of a utility vehicle.
Yeah, more of a work vehicle. And this is a showstopper because every time I walked into the Honda pavilion, people were looking at the Talon.
Yeah.
And there's another vehicle they unveiled, which is really important.
Yes.
Which was the Passport.
The Honda Passport.
Which is their new midsize SUV. But the Talon kind of outshined.
I think the Talon outshined
the Passport. And of course, the Passport, actually, the driving event is coming up in a couple months.
Yeah.
So we'll be on top of this, guys.
Heck yeah.
Including all these new vehicles.
Yeah. So I got to go to the Talon's launch. Honda showed it off to us. They had me go to their headquarters in.
How was that?
It was really cool. I went into the belly of Honda.
I've never been to the belly of Honda.
They made sure I didn't take any pictures of the outside of the buildings, until we got to the room where it was unveiled. No cameras, all that stuff. It's a really cool machine. I think our friend Steven, TFL Off-Road, really excited to get the Honda Talon.
Yeah, none of us have driven it yet.
Not yet. In February, though, is the drive event, so we're going to be doing that really soon.
So stay tuned for that. February, Talon is coming. The Passport is a midsize, so it's basically a little bit smaller than the Pilot.
Yep.
It looks in the front a lot like the Pilot.
A lot like the Pilot, but
But it's shorter.
Shorter and a little
Taller.
higher off the ground, right?
Yes.
But it has a lot of the same components underneath. So the same 3.5 liter V6 with 280 horsepower, same all-wheel drive system as the Pilot, same 8-speed automatic transmission as 9-speed automatic transmission. Sorry. So 1.1 inches more ground clearance, which is a fair amount. That's a lot.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird one. I want to drive this one before I make my any opinions or do anything about the Passport. But it comes with 20-inch rims, which was a little strange to me because they're looking at this off-roady kind of adventurous feel.
They're really pushing the off-road capability of it.
Right, but they also want it to look sporty.
Yeah.
So it's like a compromise of wheel tire.
I would probably sell the 20-inch rims and put on some 17s. Or...
Well, you know what you could do? You can put the 20s in the garage.
Yeah.
Put some 17s with beefy
like
BFGs
cool.
or something.
Yeah.
And go back and forth.
Yeah, you can swap them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all right.
I'm really excited to drive this, though. It's right between the CR-V and the Pilot in terms of size. So Pilot's the big one. CR-V is the next one, smaller than the Passport.
Yes.
Next up, the Kia Soul. So
that was my choice.
That was your choice. It's their best-selling model for Kia, right? The Kia Soul has been out for a long time now, and this is a whole new lineup for them. So the Soul EV is really attacking the Bolt, I think. It has 230 miles of range.
Approximately, that's the estimate.
Roughly, that's what they're saying.
Right.
The Bolt is 238, so it's like it's going to be right there with the Bolt. Obviously, the design is all new. What was your takeaway from the new Kia Soul?
You know, the reason why I put Kia Soul on this is because it's becoming almost a brand of itself.
Yeah.
So they got 3 cars. They got the GT line, which is their turbocharged Kia Soul.
201 horsepower.
Yeah, a lot of power in the little hatchback, and it's
lower suspension, kind of sporty, aggressive.
It looks really good. It's got a center-mounted exhaust in the back.
Yeah, it's cool.
Then they have the X line model, which is basically kind of their adventurous family car.
Yeah,
right?
it looks like it should be kind of off-road worthy. It has the cladding on it over the wheel arches, but it's not all-wheel drive. And I think a lot of us were expecting the Kia Soul to come out with an all-wheel drive platform, maybe the same one that they use in the Hyundai Kona, and it's not all-wheel drive.
Yeah, but I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the styling. I love everything else about it.
Yeah.
And it's really important. It's really a showstopper because of all the capabilities we just described.
I can't decide if I like the styling or not. I can't.
Actually,
it's sometimes this works. That view straight on works, but the 3/4 view is kind of like.
And the rear is a little strange. I don't know if we have an image of the rear. We don't, but we have a full video about it on TFLnow.
Yeah.
So you guys can check it out. But it still was next. Let's go next because Mazda.
Yeah, by the way, before you get to that, there is one car that did come out with an all-wheel drive platform that we weren't necessarily expecting. What was that one?
That would be the Mazda 3. So
next on the list.
The Mazda 3 made its debut, the 2019 Mazda 3. It's got a whole bunch. It's completely new design based on the Kai concept, a new interior that looks really upscale, I must say, and some new engines. So it's going to have the big showstopper in terms of engines here is the Skyactiv X engine. It takes some technology from diesel engines and mixes it with technology from gasoline engines to kind of maximize both power and fuel economy, which is something that's really hard to do without going to a hybrid system, right? But of course, you'll also have the 2-liter and 2.5-liter Skyactiv G engines that have been available. And of course, the big story is all-wheel drive. So you and Roman Roman interviewed.
Actually, Roman just did it.
Yeah.
Roman found Dave Coleman, who's our friend at Mazda, but he's also the guy responsible for a lot of the engineering.
He's one of their development engineers, so he's really in tune with how it drives, how it feels, how it performs, right?
And he's amazing, also an interview because he can describe things so well.
He takes something really complicated, like this all-wheel drive system, and makes us be able to understand it.
Right, so you can go to TFLnow. There's a video about Mazda 3 all-wheel drive system. It's really clever. It's about 8 minutes, that video. And of course, Dave Coleman could have talked for about 35 minutes or more.
Easily, yeah.
But we had to kind of condense it a little bit into this video.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. We haven't obviously driven this car yet.
They didn't even let us get in it.
Right, they were really protective about this particular prototype. But it's going to be a production car. It's almost
on
ready.
The way.
And the exciting part is, well, first of all, the car is exciting, but what if, and Mazda won't say this, Mazda Speed 3.
No, Mazda did say that, actually.
What did they say?
They said no Mazda
no.
Speed 3?
Oh.
No dice.
But they always say this.
Let's have a moment of silence.
They always said this. Okay.
Anyways, it will have a manual transmission though, but
Okay.
we're not sure if the manual will be available with the all-wheel drive system. I think that's the big question.
I have a pretty good feeling it will.
It will.
Yeah.
What about with the
Mazda's
Skyactiv X
good.
engine? Will we get a Skyactiv X manual all-wheel drive Mazda 3?
That
would be really cool.
think we will. If we don't, I'll be more than happy to eat crow and say I'm wrong.
Fair enough.
But Mazda is pretty good about offering manual transmissions on higher trims of the Mazda 3, at least.
Maria Miranda says, Subaru? And I do think this is somewhat of a punch at Subaru trying to offer an all-wheel drive Mazda 3.
Which is a hatchback, affordable car.
Right.
Which is all-wheel drive.
Exactly.
I think it's a hit.
Or a sedan. Yeah, both.
Somebody's asking about our hats. We're just feeling silly today.
Yeah, once this publishes live, go watch the intro because we had a long weekend. We just wanted to have some fun.
Yeah, we're feeling
Friday.
silly. A lot of people said that the Passport is also a take on the Chevy Blazer. I agree with that because
Yeah,
the Chevy
totally,
Blazer was also at the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't unveiled there.
No.
But it's also kind of a sporty, mid-size crossover that's not meant for off-road
No.
in case of the Blazer.
And I think Honda saw that and thought, ooh,
So we can do that, but also make it higher
Yep.
and also make it a little bit more off-road worthy.
Totally.
So that's definitely the case. I agree with you guys. Why did Mark Allen kept calling the Wrangler JL the wagon? I don't know that.
Well, it's
But
like it's just to distinguish the body
It's-
style, right? There's
yeah.
the truck and the wagon.
I think first of all, whatever Mark does, he can do.
Yeah.
He's allowed to say whatever he wants.
It's jargon. It's industry jargon.
But
right?
I think it's internal jargon.
Yeah.
Because when they're sitting around in meetings
Yeah.
talking about like wagon versus truck versus this versus that, I think that's why.
It's just
they're
easier
talking
to
about
say wagon probably for their own conversations.
There's a question about Chevy Silverado regular cab. Brandon, thank you for asking. It was not at the show. And the story with that is Chevy's going to actually open or reconfigure another plant to produce the regular cab Silverado.
Yeah.
The new one.
Yeah.
So it's going to be still a few months before that happens. So no regular cab, new Silverado. It's the old one you could still buy.
Right.
You could still buy the old one.
Okay, let's move on to well, we're talking about the Jeep Gladiator, but this is easily the biggest reveal of the LA Auto Show
Yes.
in 2018. The Jeep Gladiator, right? The Jeep truck we thought it was going to be the Jeep Scrambler. No, it's the Jeep Gladiator. This was, for me, the thing I was most excited to see going into the LA Auto Show. And I think, once again, the crowds around it, continuing on throughout the show, proved that it was a big deal.
Yeah, and obviously we had a lot of questions already in this show about the Gladiator.
So we don't need to spend too much time on it.
So
but
I think it's clear it was kind of a showstopper.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to be a showstopper.
Yeah,
We
it had to
just
be,
we just
it had
kind
to
of we just kind of had to put this on this list. But some of the other cars were a little bit surprising.
Yeah, totally. Especially
some-
the Mazda 3 was
The
very
Mazda
surprising.
3 was a big surprise. Another surprise is our bonus.
Yeah,
By the way, Gladiator on TFL Truck, we have a lot of videos about
tons of videos.
So-
We'll link some of those in the description,
You
or
could
we'll
s-
throw a card up here
it.
too.
You could see that. But tell me about the Audi e-tron GT, because this is one heck of a car.
So Nathan went to the launch of this, and he brought a camera to live stream the launch,
Yes.
and then they taped his camera when he got to the door. But apparently, Robert Downey Jr. walked out and pulled the curtain off of this Audi
The
e-tron.
Iron Man?
The Iron Man
Okay.
pulled the cover off of the e-tron GT, and we should be clear, it's the GT concept. This is not
full production
not
car.
full production car, but they did give us some production or some
Numbers.
numbers. So it's based off of the Porsche Taycan platform. So Porsche's coming out with a new electric sedan, all electric sedan called the Taycan. This concept shared a platform with that car. 590 horsepower from 2 electric motors. A lot of horsepower. 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. It's actually 0 to 62 in 3.5 seconds. So 0 to 60 in a little under 3.5
Okay.
seconds. And about 250 miles of range from a 90 kilowatt hour battery. But I think the real story here is
Boom.
the design. Look at that. That is a car and a. It's gorgeous.
It's a car and a half.
It is a car and a half.
It's really a Tesla
It's
Model
so
S
pretty.
fighter.
It's so pretty.
It's basically an Audi A7 or S7 on steroids.
Look at the steering wheel. Look, it's gorgeous. It's so good looking.
Oh, gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I might need some time later after the show.
Yeah.
Because this car is just amazing looking.
It's beautiful.
I hope they build it soon because
Me too.
Audi
YT's
said they will build it later in 2020. It should come out as a 2021 model.
Oh my goodness.
And hopefully it looks as close to that as possible. I doubt the steering wheel will stay like that, though. I think that's the kind of thing they might change up a little bit. Really beautiful car. It was a cool. It captured a lot of attention at the show.
Malfestro says that the Kia Niro EV was recently announced with 239 miles of range and 38,000 starting price. I don't know. I haven't seen that personally, but that sounds very reasonable.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Chevy Bolt EV is squarely in its sight.
239. They literally won up to the Chevy
One more
Bolt.
mile.
1 more mile of range.
There we go.
The thing I don't get about that, though, is the Hyundai Kona electric, which I drove recently out in California, has 258 miles of EPA estimated range, and it's the same 64 kilowatt hour battery pack that they use in the Soul EV. So
maybe
I think
size,
the
weight,
Soul will have,
size, weight,
it could be.
aerodynamics. The Kia Soul is kind of a boxy
maybe.
boxy design.
Yeah, we'll have to
so
see.
is the Kona.
Vince Clark says the Audi e-tron GT is sex on wheels.
I think that's true, but I wasn't there with Robert Downing Jr.
Yeah,
I wasn't there.
I would have liked to meet him too.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I have an Iron Man shirt on today.
Oh, really?
That's serious. Yeah. I'm gonna take my shirt off.
Okay. Please don't.
Yeah, no.
So really fast. I think we're over time.
Yeah, we need to wrap this up a little bit.
We apologize, but let's talk about Detroit for just a couple minutes.
Yeah, you guys have already been asking about it. Looking ahead to Detroit now, we'll be there.
Heck yeah.
I'm pretty sure I will be there with you, with Roman, maybe Nathan, maybe one other person. It depends on who invites us.
It depends on how the cookie crumbles, what the budgets are.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the exciting news is this. The 2020 Mustang Shelby GT500.
It'll be in Detroit.
It'll be in Detroit. It was announced in LA. They had all kinds of classic cars, including the Bullet Mustang of the original, the GT500, and today they released a teaser saying that the Shelby GT500 will be on sale in the fall.
Oh, look at that. There it is. There's an engine.
In the fall of 2019. So about, 10 to 12 months from now?
Yeah. Hand-built engine.
In Romeo, Michigan. So Ford actually has an engine plant in Romeo.
Yeah.
This engine is a supercharged V8, well over 700 horsepower.
Yep.
It's going to be insane. It's going to go up against the Hellcats and the Camaro,
and the
ZL1s,
ZR1.
Well, ZR1 Corvette.
Top end Corvette.
It might go up against that too.
It might take a punch at the Hellcat.
It just might a little.
Who knows?
So
really excited for that.
We don't have any news about the Chevy GM 3-liter Duramax yet.
Yeah.
So I know you have some questions about it. I don't have any right now. Also in Detroit, Supra.
The Toyota Supra. So the Z4 came out in LA. The Supra will be out in Detroit. We now know. I think a lot of you guys are excited for the Supra. I'm pretty excited for the Supra too, because I'm excited to see Toyota really making a further development past the GT86 of a true sports car, right? Front engine, rear wheel drive.
$5. Thank you, Malafestro. I appreciate it.
Thanks for great coverage of the LA Auto Show. You're so welcome. I'm glad you guys watched it and enjoyed it. Anything else from Detroit? We know that a lot of the Germans won't be there, right?
So we know a couple more things really fast before we have to close.
Yeah.
The Ram heavy duty truck, the new one, is going to be there. Ram has said that already.
That'll be cool.
So Ford GT, 500, Ram, Supra. But there's probably going to be 15 to 20 other unveilings.
It's going to be
Detroit
another big
is
show.
huge.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping for some stuff that I cannot say, because if I say it and it doesn't come over there, then I'll be really embarrassed.
Yeah.
But it could be a really incredible show.
I think so. And I think that should just about do it for today's episode of TFL Now Live. Thank you guys for watching all of our coverage, commenting. Thanks for watching this live show. And, looking forward to Detroit.
Well, let's listen to some whistling and do some polka.
The song is called Nostalgic Whistling 17.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
I gotta make
Have
sure
a good weekend.
Turn the volume on.